Hi there, that's right, great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch back on the camera again for another delightful tarot reading. And today, we've got a reading for a very special person who's had a reading from me in the past. This is someone called Apricus, okay? Hello, thank you very much indeed for the feedback you gave me about the last reading you've had from me, and the fact that everything came true. Thank you very much indeed for that. But today you're asking about your friendship, okay? And you want to know whether the friendship between yourself and this other special individual will basically get better. And also to see whether there's some possibilities of the friendship changing and turning around, alright? So we're going to do a particular type of tarot reading for you, and this particular reading is what is essentially a relationship tarot reading. So we're going to have a look at the energies on your side of things, on your partner's side of things, the parts of the reading which deals with what I call the forces between you, which I feel has many different meanings, including the nature of the relationship itself, and the way that the emotions go forward and backward, as well as having a look through your short-term, mid-term and long-term future, and trying to get some kind of impression for any particular changes. As is traditional, whilst I'm talking to you, I'm doing the shuffling right now, I want this to be totally randomized, just as if you were doing this, on a live telephone call with me, or whether this was, live over the internet, or if I was doing this for you on television, okay? Just bear with me a second, please. Alright, I think that's enough shuffling for now. Still with the Book of Thoth Tarot. Okay. Alright, well, straight from the top, I can say that this is not a negative reading. Don't get me wrong. Some of the readings I get really are negative. Alright, I don't have that sense of total extreme negativity when I'm looking at this particular reading in front of me today. I'm just not quite getting that right now. The feelings are rather peculiar though, because on the side of the reading of your extra special friend, we've got strange signs, dramatic change on the internal world, the mentality, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, as well as a sense of connection. This is someone who does actually love you, but doesn't feel that they can be with you at this present point in time. A change of perspective, a change of point of view maybe. A sense of intellectual or emotional disagreement, or possibly even looking at the past and taking the past a bit too seriously. I'm curious as to what's gone on between yourself and this person, because you're asking, will it actually improve, will it get better? But this is someone who already has good emotions towards you, as well as a sense of there could be something further on down the line. The part of the reading which I call the forces between you is dominated by great signs of satisfaction. So in the past when you were together, or spending time together, it was great. But something went sour. Something has caused problems. Do not expect there is going to be an apology, because I don't think that there will be. Maybe you can create the circumstances for a proper reconciliation to occur, or to create the circumstances whereby these problems could be overcome. You'll have to think about what your part to play was. You'll have to be really, really honest with yourself and quite humble, and try and work out, is there something which you personally have actually done to try and make matters worse? Because it can go both ways. Relationships are never simple, and it's never just a one-way street. And it can be made worse through things you're hanging on to in the past that you haven't quite let go of, which is still affecting you today. It can be made worse through misinterpretation, misunderstanding, and such a wide variety of different things. When I think about my relationships, I've always got to appraise myself and essentially my views. There are some areas of life in which I don't like to go. There are some things which I personally find it difficult to tolerate, and I've got to be aware of that, and I've got to be aware of the things which I find difficult to tolerate. But I've also got to try and work with them to try and overcome them. And it can be difficult. I mean, just being a human being and living your normal life can essentially raise more and more questions about your nature and my nature. Now, if we have a look at the energies on your side of the reading, it's not looking too bad. I mean, there's a sense of affection there. I would even go so far as to say that the person we're reading on today actually loves you more than you love them. But it's the sense of communication that we've got here. I mean, the communication signs are there. You know, air signs and fire signs, I associate them both with communication, but of slightly different types of energy. And when I'm talking about energy, I mean thoughts, feelings, moods, emotions, insinuations, subtleties. And this one feels like there is a feeling of hurt or pain that you've got associated with this individual that hasn't gone. There's a need to rectify that, to try and give you what you need, so that you can start, you know, moving forward, getting rid of the drugs, getting rid of the dross, and making sure that you can actually move forward properly. But this card, the Six of Cups, which in this deck is labelled pleasure, maybe explains something which you got from this individual. You got a sense of pleasure, but did you get a feeling of fulfillment? Did you get a feeling of happiness? Was this individual that you were talking about today actually right for you? Were you perceiving the relationship appropriately? Maybe these are extra questions you have to ask yourself, and just to add to the mix, basically, so that you can try and get more of a understanding, which I'm tempted to call a spiritual understanding, because it deals with your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your identity, your essence, basically, okay? So in that respect, it is a spiritual situation, and how this dynamic has actually been operating. I think that this particular reading is asking me to ask you questions. That's why I'm asking you these questions. And it feels to me like it's a very fragile, very complex, fraught relationship you got with this person. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this to make you feel unhappy. I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. What I'm doing is just telling you essentially the thoughts and feelings I'm getting from the reading. And that does, as I'm sure you know if you follow these videos, it does vary from reading to reading. But you also want to know what's going to happen, whether you're going to become more than friends in the future. Okay, here we go. Short term, mid-term, long term. It's a very simple reading method, okay? If this person was gone from your life completely, I do not feel that I would have signs of some form of reconciliation within the next 3 to 5 months. There is some opportunities to make something good happen. So if you use like the here and now, and maybe the next few weeks, to just try and reflect back upon this relationship and what's actually happened in greater depth, that will provide you with enough armory, so to speak, to be able to work out how to take this in the future. Look at your part in it, look at their part in it, try and work out what things you can just forgive and put aside and what things you can't, and to try and see that into perspective. And then to consider where you're going to move on from there. I mean, that sign there, the Four of Swords, sometimes labelled truce, alright? You don't have a truce unless you've got an opportunity to discuss matters and try and create that truce. Okay, it speaks of problems being overcome steadily and slowly, and a moment in time coming when you agree to try and get over it. But, and this is the ultra positive part of the reading, a sense of working together and a sense of success. It all depends upon how you monitor and how you look after the short-term future, basically. But it's a very, very good reading when we look at the longer-term picture. So, take responsibility in the short term and see how it goes. Alright? I'm not going to say any more in this reading for now, partially because I'm running a bit low on time, but also because I think I've given you enough to think about. And do remember, the purpose of a tarot reading is to give you things to think about and give you that moment of contemplation in your life so that you can try and work out how to take things in the future. Don't forget to, submit your reading requests via private message on YouTube. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, favorite and share this on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace and any other sites you might be a member of, okay? And I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Good fortune, God and or Goddess, and all none of the above bless. Nick Dutch signing out for now.